What is evolutionary creationism? Now, when you hear that term, you might think, isn't that a contradiction? You have evolutionary on one hand and creationism on the other. Well, it's exactly because of that question that I want to talk about it today on the Science and Faith podcast. Evolutionary creationism is a term that, by and large, is coming to replace another phrase, which is theistic evolution. So, what is theistic evolution, and why are we changing the term to evolutionary creationism? Well, theistic evolution traditionally was the view that God uses evolution to create. Now, why change to this new term called evolutionary creation? Well, when you think about it, evolution is simply a branch of science, but every other branch of science is simply a term without any other adjectives. So, for example, we have chemistry and physics. We don't have theism as an adjective to any of those fields of science. We don't have theistic physics, we don't have theistic chemistry or theistic geology or theistic paleontology. It's just physics, chemistry, geology, and paleontology. So, why the need for this adjective theistic evolution? It's just evolution. And that's why we're changing the term, or I advocate for changing the term, to evolutionary creation. And so I think it's helpful for us to begin by defining what do we mean when we talk about creationism or a creationist. And I think a good definition for a creationism or a creationist is someone who believes that God has created everything. And that's what we get from the creeds, from church history, and from the Nicene Creed, the Apostles' Creed, Athanasian Creed, is what's essential for us to believe as Christians is that God Almighty is the creator of heaven and earth. And so as long as we believe that, that's what's essential to believe to be within Orthodox Christianity. And so to be a creationist is simply someone who believes that God is the ultimate cause, the ultimate creator of everything, the whole universe. Now, and as we think about that, then that is what a creationist is. And so what's helpful is then looking at the adjectives that then describe creationists. And so for a young earth creationist, that's someone who believes that the earth is relatively young, between 6,000 and 10,000 years old. They believe in a historical or literal Adam. They believe in 6 literal 24-hour days, and so on. An old earth creationist is someone who believes just that the earth is millions or even billions of years old. And so they accept the geological time frame and the geological science, but they reject the paleontological science and the evolutionary biology and science. Whereas an evolutionary creationist is someone who actually accepts all evolutionary science. They would see God as creator of all things, but also that life formed over millions of years through evolutionary processes. And so they hold both of those things, one in each hand. They hold that God is the creator and source of all life on earth, and that he used evolution as a means to create, and that he's still active in the creation. And I think that's where the 3 main distinctives of evolutionary creationism come in, and that's what we're going to dive into now. The first distinctive of evolutionary creation is that we hold complete complementarity between science and religion. We always see science and religion as in harmony. And the reason for that is because science investigates the natural world. And if God is the creator of the natural world, then any truth that is revealed about the natural world is truth that ultimately is coming from God because he is the creator of the natural world. And so it's always going to be in harmony with the Bible because the Bible is a book that is authored by God. And so the truth that comes from the Bible is ultimately truth that comes from God. So the truth that comes from nature and the truth that comes from the Bible can never be in conflict. They're always in harmony. The second distinctive of evolutionary creationism is that we fully accept scientific data. Because science and religion are always in harmony, we can fully accept the scientific data and never fear or worry that science is going to somehow uncover some new discovery that's going to contradict the Bible, because that simply can't happen. So we can fully and confidently accept evolutionary scientific data, because we know that both nature and the Bible have the same author and the same creator. So that truth is never going to conflict. It's always going to be in harmony. And then thirdly, the third distinctive is we see God as actively involved in creation. So we're not deists. The evolutionary creation position would not see God as millions and millions of years ago starting the evolutionary process and then pulling back and just kind of letting things unfold however they want. God is actively involved in creation. He's guiding it. He's moving it. Some evolutionary creationists say he's persuading it. That's a term that some people use. But God is actively involved in creation. He's actively present in creation, and he's actively guiding the evolutionary process to accomplish his purposes. And so hopefully those three distinctives give you a better understanding and idea of what evolutionary creationism is. And hopefully this video has briefly kind of answered that question of how we can have the term evolutionary creationism, how it's not a conflict, a self-contradictory term. And hopefully that this brief discussion has been able to answer that question satisfactorily. So if you have a question or a comment about today's video, be sure and leave it in the comment section below, or send us an email, scienceandfaithdortmund@gmail.com. Visit our website, scienceandfaith.de, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're looking forward to our next video together.